Can you imagine surviving on just $7 an hour? For millions of Americans, this isn't a hypothetical question. It's their daily reality. Meet Barbara. She left her comfortable life behind to experience firsthand the challenges of living on minimum wage. Her journey, documented in a powerful book, sheds light on a hidden America, one where financial stability is a daily struggle. Barbara's new reality as a waitress in a family restaurant was a stark contrast to her previous life. Long hours, aching feet, and relentless demands from customers and management became her new normal. But the real test came when she had to manage her earnings. With rent consuming nearly half of her income, Barbara was left with barely enough for food and gas. She recalls a particularly difficult moment. There was a month when I had to choose between paying rent and buying groceries. This financial tightrope walk isn't unique to Barbara. Her co-workers faced similar challenges. Gail, her trainer at the restaurant, lived in her truck, relying on her charm to gain permission from management to park in the restaurant's lot overnight. The constant financial pressure created a sense of camaraderie among the workers, but it also highlighted the impossible math of low-wage survival. As Barbara observed, there are no secret economies that nourish the poor. On the contrary, there are a host of special costs. But poverty doesn't just attack the wallet, it's an all-encompassing force. For Barbara, moving to a new town meant finding an affordable place to live, which turned out to be a Herculean task. How do you find a place when landlords demand deposits you can't afford? Barbara ended up renting a decrepit efficiency apartment far from her workplace, requiring a 45-minute commute each way. The kitchen was little more than a hot plate, and the floor was alive with roaches. This wasn't just Barbara's reality. It was a common experience among her co-workers. Claude, a Haitian cook, lived in a 2-bedroom apartment shared by 4 adults. Tina, another colleague, paid $60 a night for a room at the Days Inn simply because it was within walking distance of her job. Barbara realized that housing instability wasn't just a consequence of poverty, but often perpetuated it. People spent more time and resources trying to adapt to unstable environments rather than improving their circumstances. The vicious cycle was clear. Low wages led to unstable housing, which in turn made holding steady jobs even harder. As Barbara aptly pointed out, in poverty, as in certain propositions in physics, starting conditions are everything. Even when Barbara managed to hold on to her tiny apartment, the physical toll of her work at Jerry's, a high-volume diner, became inescapable. Can you imagine running nonstop for 8 hours, on your feet, with no break to sit down? Barbara remembers stuffing herself with ibuprofen just to manage the repetitive stress injuries that came with carrying heavy trays. The physical pain was constant, but it was just the beginning. Then there were the customers, some kind and empathetic, but many demanding and dismissive. One Sunday night, a table of 10 churchgoers ran her ragged with special requests, only to leave a $1 tip on a $92 bill. The emotional toll was just as heavy. Barbara found herself questioning her worth and identity as she endured insults, patronizing remarks, and being treated as invisible by some patrons. As if the job itself wasn't hard enough, the management kept the pressure high. There was relentless surveillance, locker searches, and a prohibition on sitting down, even when there was no work to be done. Co-workers like George, a young Czech dishwasher, often bore even heavier burdens, working long shifts for minimal pay while enduring the condescension of supervisors. Barbara saw how the dehumanizing environment turned even basic tasks into uphill battles. She noted how workers bonded by covering for each other's mistakes or exhaustion, but the solidarity wasn't enough to offset the grueling conditions. Barbara's reflection on this chapter is telling. The question is not whether people can survive on minimum wage, but whether we want them to. Through her experiences, Barbara sheds light on the invisible army of workers who keep our service economy running, exposing not only their struggles but also their humanity. As we reflect on these stories, we're challenged to consider, what kind of society do we want to build?